In the darkness of ignorance and misguidance, when humanity was groaning under the weight of injustice and disbelief, the light of prophethood shone on the earth to restore the world's balance and guide humanity on its righteous path. In Mecca, where the Kaaba is located in the greatest place on earth, the best of mankind and the most honorable of creation, the seal of prophets and messengers, Muhammad was born. His birth was not just a passing event, but the beginning of the greatest message known to mankind, a message that carries light and guidance and restores the dignity of humanity. Translated with DeepL.com free version. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, is the greatest of mankind, as he was chosen by God to be the seal of the prophets and messengers. He was born in Mecca in the year of the elephant, and grew up as an orphan, then lost his mother at the age of 6 to live in the care of his grandfather Abdul Muttalib, and then his uncle Abu Talib. His childhood was full of meanings and lessons that formed the basis of his great personality. Before the mission, the Prophet was known as Sadiq al-Amin, as he was a model of honesty and truthfulness in word and deed. He was a model of honesty and truthfulness in word and deed. Translated with DeepL.com free version. At the age of 40, while the Prophet, peace be upon him, was meditating in the cave of Hira, the Prince of Revelation, Gabriel, came to him with the first words of revelation. Read in the name of your Lord, who created you. This event was the beginning of a great message aimed at liberating minds from the bondage of idols and directing people to the worship of God alone. The Prophet began his call secretly for 3 years, then announced it publicly, defied the Quraysh leaders who stood firmly against him. But the Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, remained patient and steadfast, and continued to call to Allah with wisdom and good advice. The Meccan call was full of challenges and difficulties. The Prophet and his companions were subjected to various kinds of harm from the Quraysh, from physical torture to economic and social boycotts. Nevertheless, the Prophet continued his call and spread the values of patience and fortitude among his companions, which made Islam take root in the hearts of believers. After the Quraysh's harm to the Muslims intensified, God authorized the Prophet to migrate to Medina. The migration was a turning point in the history of Islam, as the Prophet established a state based on justice and equality. In Medina, the Prophet established a constitution that regulated relations between Muslims and non-Muslims and laid the foundations for peaceful coexistence. In Medina, the civilian phase of the Dawah began, where the Prophet focused on building the Islamic community on strong foundations that included faith in God, good morals, unity, and justice. The Prophet also led several invasions that were essentially defensive, aimed at protecting Islam and Muslims. The Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, was the pinnacle of morality and compassion. He treated everyone with kindness and justice, whether they were friends or enemies. Allah Almighty said about him, "You are of great moral character, Al-Kalam." For his example was the Holy Quran. The Prophet, peace be upon him, was characterized by patience in the face of adversity and wisdom in managing matters. He was kind to children, compassionate to women, and fair to all. He was also an example of asceticism and humility. In the 11th year of the Hijrah, the Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, passed away after completing his mission and fulfilling his trust. His death was a great tragedy for the Ummah, but he left an immortal legacy of values and principles that guide humanity until the Day of Judgment. The Prophet's message was not limited to Arabs or to a specific time, but was a universal message sent to all human beings. It brought about radical changes in human societies and made moral values, justice, and equality the foundations to be emulated. Through his sunnah and hadiths, the Prophet provided a model for how to approach various aspects of life, from worship to social and political relations. He left us with a great legacy of teachings that continue to enlighten us today. May God bless our Master Muhammad, his family and companions, and those who follow his guidance until the Day of Judgment.